Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So guys, in today's video, we are going to study about the nutrient cycle, which is the last component of the ecosystem. So I hope you remember that we are right now at chapter 14 of class 12, which is ecosystem, and we have already covered all the other components of ecosystem, which is producers, so basically productivity. Then we covered decomposition, and then we covered the energy flow. And in the last video, we covered the successive, basically ecological succession, right? So in today's video, we are going to cover the very last topic, which is nutrient cycle. And in the next few videos, we are going to cover all the cycles one by one. So what exactly is nutrient cycling, right? What exactly is the nutrient cycle? Now we know that all the organisms, they need a constant supply of nutrients. Why do they need these nutrients? So basically, they need these nutrients for growth, right, for reproduction, and to regulate the various body functions. So this means that there are certain nutrients which we need constantly in order to perform all the important functions, right? Now, the amount of these nutrients, such as say carbon or nitrogen or phosphorus or calcium, right? So all of these things, all of these nutrients, the amount is basically present in the soil at any given time, right? Now this is known as the standing state. So the amount of nutrient present in the soil at any particular time is the standing state. Right. Now it varies in different types of ecosystem. Always remember, guys, that the soil, the nutrition in the soil, the state of soil will always vary in different ecosystems, right? So even the standing state varies in different kind of ecosystem, and it is also based on seasons, right? So in different seasons, this nutrient quality of soil changes, right? So basically, it is very important to appreciate the fact that these nutrients, with- they are like never lost from the ecosystem, rather they are recycled again and again, and this recycling process is indefinitely, right? So it is a good thing that these nutrients are never lost completely from the ecosystem. They are basically recycled again and again, right? So the movement of these nutrient elements, remember, the movement of these nutrient elements through the various components of ecosystem. I'm saying movement of nutrient elements through the various components of an ecosystem is known as nutrient cycling, right? Now another name of nutrient cycling is biogeochemical cycles. It is also known as biogeochemical cycles. Means bio is for living organisms, geo is from rocks, earth, water, right? So chemicals which we get from living organisms or different geographical structures, different geographical components, right? And the cycle which involves all of these is the biogeochemical cycle or nutrient cycling. So you need not be confused between the two terms. These are used for the same meaning, right? Now, guys, you'll have to remember that these nutrient cycles, right? These nutrient cycles are of two types. These nutrient cycles are of two types. One is the gaseous cycle and the other is the sedimentary cycle, right? Now, the reservoir for gaseous type of nutrient cycle, like say nitrogen or carbon cycle, exists in the atmosphere. And so basically for gaseous, it is the atmosphere which is the reservoir, and for the sedimentary cycle, it is the Earth's crust, which is the reservoir. So for gaseous cycles, atmosphere serves as the reservoir, and for sedimentary cycles, Earth's crust serves as the reservoir. Now there are different environmental factors. There are different types of environmental factors like soil, moisture, pH, temperature. So all of these things basically regulate the rate of release of nutrients into the atmosphere. So they kind of regulate the nutrient cycling as well. Now the function, what is the function of these reservoirs? We said that atmosphere or Earth's crust is the reservoir. So the function of these reservoir is to meet with the deficit which occurs due to imbalance in the rate of influx and efflux, right? So the rate of you know getting into the system and getting out of the system, it is somewhat not completely balanced, right? It is imbalanced, and to meet that deficit, we have these reservoirs as atmosphere and Earth's crust. Now today we are going to study the first cycle, which is the carbon cycle. So let's see what happens in the carbon cycle. Now guys, if we talk about some of the data, carbon, right? Remember that carbon constitutes 49% of dry weight of organisms, and it is next to water. So water is around 65 to 69%, right? So carbon constitutes 49% of dry weight in organisms. Right now, if we look at the total quantity of global carbon, it is around 71%. So 71% is found dissolved in oceans. So basically these oceanic reservoirs regulate the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now what happens? Basically the fossil fuels, we have various fossil fuels. These also represent the reservoir of carbon. Now what happens in carbon cycling? Carbon cycling occurs through atmosphere, oceans, right? So atmosphere, oceans, and then we have living and dead organisms. Right. Now, if we talk about an estimate, around 4 into 10 to the power 13 kg of carbon is fixed annually in the biosphere through photosynthesis, right? Then a considerable amount of carbon returns to the atmosphere through the respiratory activities. So we respire, we take in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, right? So through these respiratory activities, there is a considerable amount of carbon which returns to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Now again, after this, decomposers also contribute substantially to CO2 pool as they process the waste material and dead organic matter of land and oceans. Then we have some amounts of fixed carbon which is lost to sediments and is removed from circulation. Then we have burning of wood, forest fire, combustion of organic matter, fossil fuels, we have volcanic activities. All of these are additional sources for releasing CO2 in the atmosphere, right? So basically, we see that human activities have significantly influenced the carbon cycle. And then we have rapid deforestation and then massive burning of fossil fuels, like we see the usage of coal, petroleum, right, for energy and transport. And All of these human activities have significantly increased the rate of release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is basically adding up to the greenhouse effect. And we are going to study this greenhouse effect in the last chapter, which is chapter 16. So even if you see this carbon cycle in cyclic form, let's see the carbon cycle once in this complete cyclic form. So what is happening here? You see what is happening here. So basically we have various things. We have carbon dioxide in atmosphere, then photosynthesis produces fixes carbon dioxide in the air. Then we have respiration and decomposition by consumers and decomposers. Then we have the burning of forest. We have combustion of fossil fuels. All of these, right? All of these are adding up to the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and it is interlinked, right? So cutting of trees leads to forest fire. The There is a complete detritus food chain, which is basically the decomposers. Every living thing, which is where whether it is plant or animals, they die, and the organic matter is it gets decomposed by the decomposers, and they release CO2. Then we have oil and gas, which is used in combustion of fossil fuels for electricity, vehicles, heat. We have coal, like we have organic sediments. Now here again, if you see the aquatic system, we have various phytoplanktons. So photosynthesis is there. There is CO2 in water. Then these organisms again they decay, right? So from there again it is decomposed and CO2 is fixed in the atmosphere. So there are a lot of functions which are being performed in the ecosystem, and all of these functions are adding carbon dioxide to the system continuously, right? And if this increases, it leads to greenhouse effect, right? So carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse gases basically, which leads to an anomaly in the atmosphere, right? So we'll study about the greenhouse gases later, but you can see how the carbon cycle works, right? So it is basically being replenished by all the different types of organisms. So guys, this is all about the carbon cycle. In the next video, we are going to study about the phosphorus cycle, and we'll also study the ecosystem services. What are the ecosystem services? So I hope you understood the concept of nutrient cycling and how does the carbon cycle works in the system, in the entire ecosystem. If you did, please do like the video and share it with your friends. It is going to help you a lot in your NEET preparation. And if you have any doubt, please do not hesitate in asking your doubts. You can just drop in a message in the comment of this video, or you can drop a message on WhatsApp. The number is given in description of the video. And guys, if you have any doubt, please do not hesitate in sending your doubts. I would request you to give your feedback. For sure, I'll be waiting for it. And yes, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get all the updates that I'll be posting lately. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.